Hey you guys, this is the continuation of tonight's stream. Waiting here for those that purchased a stream. Purchased a reading because of the Black Friday sale in the shop going on. I just released one more, which is the BOGO. BOGO for the Tarot Love readings. So I'm just waiting at this point. So if you guys are seeing this later on in the archive of my channel, you know that I conduct my free yes and no on TikTok, and then the readings that I actually do are uncensored on here. I mean, not uncensored, but like, you know, they're professionally spoken, but it's not with the censorship that the other platform has, which is crazy. You can't even say like the word Instagram or anything like that. So I say that because whoever watches these archives, they'll get information, you know, before the actual audience gets in as the chat loads. So. Okay, so waiting here for, I believe their name is Kennedy. We're going to be doing a reading. Let's see, Trillion is asking, do you do money magic? Yes, I do. So different kinds. So astrological magic, money spells, promotion, sweetening the boss. Maybe it's getting a job. There's different ways for the money. Yeah, I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know. So, so usually that I do... so when you do money spells, it's lots of different kinds. So one is just to bring like good luck in that way. Other ones are to, you know, focus on one job a person wants to get. Another one could be like for a promotion or a raise. Those are different kinds of money spells. There's all kinds, opening up opportunities. Like let's say that you have, you know, maybe like a contract or project, or maybe you get tips or commissions. Those are different types of money spells. It's all kinds. It just has to fit what, you know, your lifestyle, like what you do, your industry. And usually what I do is a combination. When I work with someone, I sell bundles. So a lot of the things I do in-house, and then I send to the client the part they have to do. You know, the spell candles that I bless, and I put everything together, and they work with it while I do the part on the altar, you know, in studio. You know, sometimes it's a series of like baths, oils, different things that, you know, the client uses. And then, you know, and then it also includes readings, and then we check on things together. Like, you know, I check on what's going on. So for example, if you're after a certain job position and it's competitive, and you've got all these things, you're doing your part, I'm doing my part, we get into gambling, gambling money magic. Yeah, I can, you know, there are some things for gambling. Absolutely. There's a lot of amulets. I've helped people win stuff at casinos and stuff, but it's not, I think earned money is the best, because when it comes to inheritance and, you know, luck, and when it comes to the lottery and things like that, those are things that are already in the natal chart, believe it or not. It's destiny. Now, gambling is players luck, but players luck is tricky. If not, anybody would just do it and just constantly win. It doesn't work that way exactly. You can get one or two lucky, you know, amounts, but it's not going to be this continuous get quick rich scheme. It doesn't work that way. So. No, it doesn't work that way exactly. I mean, it is possible to do things that way, but it's more corrupt. What you're saying is possible, but it's not really fair to do that, because they're putting their money from their savings, and it's not fair to do that. So I'm very very conscientious how I use magic. I'm I don't do corrupt things like that. No, I know that. You just said a certain amount, but that's a lot. That amount would have to be on your natal chart. It would have to be your destiny, being honest with you. It's either there or it's not. For example, a trust fund kid, that's a mark on a person's natal chart. You have to be born with that on a person that's going to go from rags to riches, a person that's going to hit a large jackpot that changes their life. I've seen it. I've dealt with people like that. Those are things in the natal chart. Magic for that large life-changing thing is not really how it works. Doesn't work that way. At least I'm not willing to do things like that. I'm sorry, Trillian. I like to do things with honesty and kindness. There's a lot you can do for good luck. There's a lot you can do for money. And it can make a significant difference. But that's like cheating life. If not, everybody would be entitled to do that, because every human being deserves those types of chances. So I'm sorry to cut our conversation short, but I do have a paid reading from Kennedy. Hi, Kennedy, you're back. Now, you got the 15, which is the 10 card love reading. So this reading is about 20 minutes. It's, I think you just saw me do one, I think, or maybe the last part of it. So I focus on a love question and I bring clarity to your situation. So basically I just need the question that you want. If you're reading if it's focused on a love interest, just give me their sign, like if they're a Taurus or Aquarius or whatever it is, okay? Just give me their sign and your sign, just the sun sign, that's it. And your question. That's all I need. Because these aren't general readings, these are love. So with love, I gotta focus on the answer. To answer your question. Okay. You seem familiar. Have I read for you before? You seem familiar to me. If I haven't, then welcome and thank you for choosing me. And if I have, then hi, how you been? Okay, here we go. So you're the Cancer, they're a Libra. Uh-oh, what is it with Libras now? It's like Libra season. Actually, it's Scorpio season, but I don't know. I've done like the past 12 readings. Well, not the one I just did, but for the past couple days, they've all been Libras. I'm like, oh my God, everybody has a crush on a Libra. Holy moly. Okay. Oh, months ago. Okay, yeah, because you seem familiar to me. Okay, well, welcome back. Thank you. All right, let's see. So you're curious about your ex. Are you going to get back together? Okay, so here we go. So this is for Kennedy. Let's see. Libra. Okay. You know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to do a energy check on you guys, the couple itself. I mean, it's an ex, I get it, but I just want to do this, see what the energy is between both of you. I'm just reading the dice here. All right. First of all, let's talk about the energy between both of you is, I don't know if you're, I don't know if the way that you're phrasing the question is like, he's an ex that you think about, you know? Because you're saying it like, I'm curious if your ex will go back together. Okay, you see? Like a distant. But the way I'm reading it in the energy, sounds like you have been talking a little bit. There's a connection here that's not, it's, I would say, first of all, you seem distant. I don't know if that's geographical distance. This is a dice reading, so they're different. I don't know if there's geographical distance here, but it can also entail that two people are talking a little bit, but they haven't really like bonded to the point where they're back on this like inseparable train. I don't see that inseparable bond yet, but I see that there's some major connection coming in. Now, let me tell you, this person that you're asking about, the Libra, most recently had someone that he was involved with, possibly two. And it wasn't deep or anything like that. There was something shady in his past. So maybe, there was like substance, or maybe there was something that one of them, maybe into certain negative habits or something like that. There was something about that. It's been a little bit. And there's something else. When it comes to his past, maybe when you were both together, he was better off financially. But there was also a problem for him stemming from his work. And I think that maybe that was the beginning of what was, causing a strain for both of you. But anyway, I digress. I just want to get back to, it looks really promising so far. So let's see what's going on here. I definitely see the interest that he has. Let's go a little closer. Yeah, it looks good. I'm just yawning. I don't want to yawn on camera. Thank you. Okay, so this is a she love, right? The Libra and you. She plus she. It doesn't, okay. That way I'll pay attention more, because I've noticed that clients that have she plus she loves, they like more like descriptive, like if I see a blonde or a brunette or something like that. I don't know why, but like is preferred. Whereas the other way, I think it's more like, I don't know. I've noticed they focus more on like the trust thing. And when I'm reading, it's better to be descriptive. So, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll keep my eyes peeled for details, physical details. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so, that goes with what I was saying a minute ago. Let me see something. All right. Okay. This is weird because the reading opens up with the card part opens up with the Libra. How do you say maybe intoxicating habits? Maybe there was someone that they were friends with, or I don't know, but I'm trying to say it. And I know that YouTube is like, you can just talk normally and you don't have to like be so censored like TikTok, where every word is like, oh my God, you can't say that. You can't even say Instagram. It's crazy. I know that, but I'm still careful because I'm talking about the person that you love or you care about. So I want to be like respectful. That's why I'm like, how do I say it? Oh my God. So the reading begins with a person dealing with someone who is into stuff that's not, you know, like if they're puffing the dragon or something. I don't know if, you know, that's their lifestyle, but they were, you know, dealing with someone in that sense. So if someone was into that, you know, are you aware of, that's the description coming in. So are you aware that they were, you know, in their most recent past, the person they were seeing, are you aware that that person had some kind of substance issue? Like either it was a lot of drinking or other things on the list, you know? Because if they would have continued to hang out with that person, they would have gotten in trouble. Because the person is, you know, into a little this and a little of that. You know what I mean? Anyway, let me continue. Okay, you're not aware of it, okay. So I'm just trying to tell you that when you were with the Libra, if the Libra was not into any of that, you know, smoking or anything like that, then this would have been a behavior that they were hanging out with as the person. Maybe that's why they left. So that's what starts the reading, and this is the past. Not the past like when you were involved. The past like the recent past when you were broken up is what I'm talking about. Are any of you two in the medical field? Either you or your love interest? Or are you getting any kind of money from a lawsuit, like when someone gets injured or accident or something like that, where you get compensated, you or your love interest? I'm trying to see where this is coming from because I don't know your life. It's coming up in the reading. I just don't know if it applies to you or, okay, you're both in the social work, okay. So social work is not exactly medical, but it can intertwine with like forced therapies for the clients. You deal with people that have illnesses and need help, and okay, I understand, maybe. Okay, so this could talk about a job opportunity. Okay, so let me find out what was the other part you were saying? Hang on one second. Okay. Which part, sweetheart? Which part are you you're when you said not that I know of? Oh, because of the compensation. Okay, so it could be them. Let me find out where this is coming from. All right, one second. Okay. Let's fast forward as I chip away because I didn't want to confuse you, and I don't want. I started the reading with, you know, kind of looking at what's been going on, while you and they were not, you and the Libra were not together. But I could see that since you're not aware of what's going on in their life to those details, because it was like, I don't know, let's say a quiet period. I don't want to go there. I wanted to switch because every time I'm going to say something, you'll be like, oh, I'm not sure. I haven't talked to them about that. I don't know. So I want to switch the gears a bit, and I wanted to go to the problem that you guys had. Not that I want to go too much into the past, but I wanted to see what's going on here. And it seems like there was some kind of conflict that work, which is kind of like what I said with the dice. There was something that was, something went wrong with your workplace, something with work when you were together. I believe my words when I was casting the dice was that something along the lines of, this is where like maybe work got in the way, or there was something that was soured because of the work. And this is what's coming up as well here when I look into the issue. Some couples compete. Some couples can't. One will want to talk about work during personal time and it drains the other person. Sometimes they work for the same place. Sometimes there's something competitive. You know, I don't know the situation, but work is related, something within work or job is related to the root of the issue that started to sour the connection. Do you know what that is about? What I'm talking about? Sometimes a person is recuperating from something and they can't work as much. Sometimes it's that they have pressures with a job and maybe you didn't, and that they were bitter. You know, I don't know what it was. I mentioned a couple of things, but in the end, this is what it's saying. So I'm wondering, what do you know what I'm talking about when I say that something work related was pressuring the relationship? Okay. So maybe time for each other then is what you're saying? Not enough time for each other because of work? You married to the job, I guess? Yeah. So dedicated and yeah. It's possible. So that's, in a way, you got to think positively about that, because if two people are really, really meant for each other or drawn to each other, and sometimes they have a time where the timing is off. Sometimes people just have great timing and that's it. But sometimes two people could meet like you guys and it could be the right people, but the timing was wrong. You got to think about that too. Right, right. I don't think it was you guys. I don't think it was you folks. I think it was the situation itself. You know, because sometimes when there's a bitterness, yeah, I don't see that. So I see it as positive, whatever, you know, whatever it is. So, all right, let me continue and see what else is going on. Okay. Huh, all the rooms are falling tonight. All right, there's a little problem going on. You know how my focus is a love reading, and that's what you're gonna get. That's what you're getting. It's a love reading. But I can't help that there's an issue coming up that you're not, we need to talk about this because it's being mentioned, okay? So it's kind of like when you get readings from me, I focus on what you're asking for. I definitely hone in on it, but sometimes it's just gonna stuff into the reading what you need to know, all right? Sometimes that happens. And there's something going on here with work being very vigilant of you and you're not aware of it. This talks about something difficult that happened to somebody. So maybe you're handling something like I don't know your life. So, I'm trying to relate it, but I'm going to just tell you exactly how it's coming in the reading. All right. Instead of me trying to break it down, I'm just going to tell you the raw message. The client is aware of something that has been very detrimental to someone, and what they're not aware of is that there's hypervigilance on them from the workplace. So for example, you said you're in social work, maybe medical, maybe something like that. If you're handling cases, okay, you could be dealing with someone that has a very rough background or history or something difficult. Maybe you're handling something where you're being tested, and there's a lot of vigilance to what's going on. So if one of your case works are a person that's shady, or maybe they're into shady kind of lifestyle. Maybe it's their case file that's very, very dark with stuff, and your work environment is vigilant because maybe it's a new case. I'm not sure what's going on here, but you need to be aware of it because it can affect you. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, you're doing a love reading, and that's fine. I'll add more time because usually it's 20 minutes, but it's okay. Sometimes this happens. Are you in any situation where, and I'm sure there's like non-disclosure agreements and stuff, so I'm not trying to tell, with your job. So I'm not trying to tell you say things online with your job, but you can give an idea, a vague idea. Are you aware of anything difficult with a case or some kind of person that you're helping, and the workplace is trying to micromanage or supervise or judge something that you're doing, anything like that if you handle it wrong can get you reprimanded? It could also be your love interest. In a love reading, both of you are intertwined. I'm looking into both of you together, right? Whether you're together or not officially. So what I'm saying, it could be the first person or the second person. So either you or the Libra. No, that wouldn't be it. Logically, you would think that would be it, but that's not it. Because you working on a big project with your boss, that really wouldn't, unless your boss is attractive and the Libra would be suspicious. If that is the case, that would be an issue. But if that's not an issue, it wouldn't be that. it would then be perhaps the Libra's current job, what the Libra is currently doing. Maybe they're involved in a project where it's difficult. The people that they're, maybe it's EBT, nightmare situation going on. Maybe there's something political. It could be something like that. Exactly. So you're saying that you don't think she'd be jealous of that. Okay. I don't think that's it either, but I just wanted to make sure. It's probably her situation. So the more you connect with her, and the more you start bonding more, I encourage you to find out a little bit more about her actual job stuff. I'm sure that's boring when you're trying to connect romantically, but I'm trying to tell you, when you start talking to her a little bit more about all kinds of stuff, probe a little bit, because there's something that's very pressuring where the person can be scrutinized a lot and could probably be fired or something if they don't handle it right. Or there could be some kind of element of uncomfortability or something like that where maybe someone they're helping is not in the right mindset. Maybe she's working on someone or handling a case or something where the person is very fragile mental health wise. Things that get into details like that, because that's coming into the reading. Yeah, so the reason it's coming up is because you would think, what the hell, this is a love reading. Like, why the hell are you telling me about the love interest and a danger in their job? I understand that, but you got to realize something the way I'm seeing it. Two people meet, they're meant to be together, they have chemistry, they become a couple, and work pressures made it so strained that the couple became no more. To then find themselves again, and you look into the love, and what I see is work. Well, this means that if you look at it from afar, you look at it in a way where her work life could bring more pressures this time, that you may yet find yourselves in a refreshed situation where you're both connecting better, but more problems start to challenge the relationship like a pattern, but this time it's with her job, okay? Because this is the heaviness of this reading, okay? So I'll tell you something else about the Libra. They seem like a magnet for charity cases. I know that's extra. I know that's nothing to do with what we're talking about. But as a person, as a person, I can tell they're a magnet for charity cases, for people that they're effed up, they have a lot of problems, and the Libra tries to help everybody in a way that's very Libra. Always fighting for good causes, and which is difficult for her because it's hard enough, dealing with, her job and her things, to then also just have that crowd flock to her. It's heavy. It's heavy because people like that have bad energy around them, people that have a lot of issues. And to constantly deal with that is heavy. So she's the type of person that should do cleanses, wear an amulet, kind of thing. Okay, so let's continue. Okay. The near future. So the current status right now is two things. Your chemistry is real and getting stronger. Her work life and the things she's surrounding herself with people, energy-wise, you know, her everyday in and out, you're going to be seeing that the pressure in her life increases, and you need to prepare for that, because you're not just going to get her right now. You're going to get her and then some. And if you're prepared for that, it's going to be easier to expect, okay? Now, game changer. You're going to have someone that wants to be with you, and there's some kind of, you know, there's like a, let me check if this is romantic. It looks like it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. There's a warning in the reading, okay? In the very near future, tomorrow, next week, 3 weeks from now, whatever, okay? You know, it'll happen chronologically. The next thing to occur, besides you getting closer to her and realizing that the work this time is harder for her, there's going to be someone that tries to be in your life romantically. They could be on the thin side. They could be very generous. And they could be offering a lot of things. Or seem really kind. But the thing is, there's a warning, because they could have some kind of illness, for you to be very aware of, you know, anything that's, you know, close, okay? Because it can be in the body or in the mind, okay? I don't do medical readings, but little tricklets of it, if it's important in the life, I will address, like this one. All right, so I don't know if it's, you know, something contagious, or if it's something that's overwhelming that, you know, is in the headspace, or, you know, something that maybe is temporary, you know. But whatever it is, it's a warning saying, you know, be very careful who you become involved with in a physical sense, because of that, you know, sharing cups, anything like that, you know, okay? Now, the next thing is, there's a great deal of desire that you're going to be feeling more with desiring the Libra. So your romantic-y, sparkly feelings are going to be growing, and you're worried that you won't connect, that you won't, you know, have, you know, kissy time, that you won't be able to romantically, you know, become a couple again. You're afraid it won't, but you're also very hopeful that it will. I know you feel that now, but it's going to intensify. Now, let me tell you something else. Let me see who this is. Okay. Okay. Not so easy. The complexity here. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, give me a second. I see that the road for both of you together is difficult. I do not feel that it won't happen. I feel that it might be delayed. I feel that the situation that might cause complicated things are her circle of friends or the people that she deals with. You would think that sounds crazy because why, if she's interested in you, would she let someone get in the way of a new relationship or rekindling of her older relationship? It's not so easy. It's not that she's allowing that. It's just that it's very difficult how it happens. She has her friends. She has her way of having friends. She doesn't burn bridges. Cancer can be very drastic. If someone sucks, you can say F off. No problem there. You're a Cancer, Kennedy? You don't like somebody? You'll either ignore them and just be like, take your thumb, swipe up, bye. Or just say, bye, get out of my face, thank you. Very simple. That's not that way for Libra. Yes, they can have moments where they're upset and put their foot down and stuff. They're capable of being very mad. But all in all, Libras wait and wait and wait, and they just don't burn bridges. They don't sit there saying everything they need to. They just hold back. They'd rather kind of evaluate the situation. They'll wait a little bit before something happens. They won't say anything. Let it all blow over. They don't want to be the object of drama, right? Her circle of friends or the people in her circle or the people she's allowing to be in her circle, it can cause, will cause stress and strain in allowing both of you to connect. Will you be lovers and get connected again and everything like that? I see that you will, but I see that it's difficult. I see that there's a lot of issues coming. For example, this talks about feeling abandoned, and it talks about judging someone over feeling abandoned. Like, for example, let's say that you make plans and you're waiting on something and they can't make it or they forget or they, and then you feel like what's going on and, or, we could flip the example the other way, but I'm just saying there's going to be some, so after the friend that I'm telling you to stay away from, the interested friend, there's going to be a situation where you and your love interest, the Libra, one of you feels abandoned and judged. So that means that the communication you guys start having and the plans that you start making is difficult, and it's not so easy. It's because it's not just, oh my God, I'm going to stop the world and be with you. It's that's not the mentality going on here, where two people can't not be together and they just can't. There's, it's a drive to be with you, I can't take it. It's not like that. It's just, it's slow, it's choppy, it's very strong, it's there, but at the same time slow. Some things are stagnant. There's a lot of energies pulling her in different directions. I do see a situation where, you know, one of you might hurt the other one's feelings in a financial way. That sounds so weird, but it's like when someone acts a little bit selfish or not as giving. All I'm trying to tell you is I do see that you do have a chance. It is very real. It is very true. I see that it's really her circle of people, her environment, and how she's she's letting or will let other things disrupt her relationship. That's how I see it. And it's not her intention, it's just her nature. I've seen that, I've read for certain individuals, for example, that had a lot of potential suitors interested in them, and they would be so obsessed with the teenage sons going to ball games that they wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't cater to their own love life. And I was like, well, you're lonely and these guys are asking you out, but you're obsessed with being soccer mom. Like, I get it, but like, are you gonna date or what, you know? You know, and their choice was, no, the soccer. Okay, well then forget the dating, because you're not balancing it right. So in this particular case, you know, Libra, you're lonely, she likes you, you have a, you know, attraction to each other. Why are you having your, you know, why don't you just block other people and focus on Kennedy? You know, it's difficult, but this is what's going on. So you're going to have a lot of like ups and downs, but where you kind of wait, and then you're kind of there's not enough clarity. You might get a little stir crazy. Are we happening? Are we not? Oh my God, you know, this is difficult. Remember that Cancer is very determined. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is all about, I'm not waiting, I'm doing it now, I can't wait, I have ants in my pants, I want this done now. Cancer has some of that because Jupiter's exalted in Cancer. So Cancer's just like, excuse me, shit or get off the pot. Are we doing this or not? Because this is driving me nuts. I'm very determined this way, right or left. What are we doing? So, and Libra's not like that. It's like, oh, well, you know, people say, oh, yeah, Cancer is moody. Not really. They're very determined. They're moody in a different way. But they're very determined, you know. And the Libra, that's when they're like, I'm not sure. Well, maybe on Thursday, oh, I don't know. And it's kind of like, hello. So that's some of the difficulty here. Now, let me switch this a little bit and see if after this, let me see. I do timelines all the time. I like to do them with like court cases and stuff because the courts change. They're the ones that have a calendar. So it's very, very, very easy to do tarot with court, you know, case timelines. But for love, because you're dealing with a person's variable emotions, there's no rule that says you have to choose this now. Like, they are allowed to alter. I'm going to give you a timeline of when I believe you're going to finally get it going with this person. Of course, there could be other avenues we're not looking into. You got to think of it thoroughly. There could be another connection that just takes off for you or them or both. But I don't care about that right now. I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't looked for it, to be honest. I'm just focusing on both of you. I'm going to give you an idea of how I think when you both will get things right. I would say around the 2-year mark. Now, life can get really interesting and complicated and have all kinds of opportunities that today you don't see. And later on, you'll be like, oh, wow, this is awesome. You got to understand that. You got to stay positive, okay? Just because I'm saying that the connection with you and her will happen, it will happen contingent upon who you become at that time. This is only 10 cards. I'm not telling you need anything else. This is a good reading. You don't need anything else. But we can't squeeze more details into something that's a chunk of the story. It's the most important part. I'm already telling you without that many details, it's not an easy ride. It's not because she's not into you. It's because of how she is and how her life is complicated and how you fit into it and how the ebb and flow of both of you together. You're determined. She's not so determined. She's more like let it slide kind of thing, like just go with the flow. You know, she's not one of these, she's just, you know, she's had a different style of doing things. She procrastinates and stuff. So I see that some feelings can get a little bit hurt. I see a little bit of that. I see a little bit of, you know, a little selfishness later on. No, nothing too big, you know. I know you're not finished naturally. I mean, you could also sit there and decide, forget it. It's up to your prerogative. But naturally, I see that life will open up a door for both of you again. Unless you can get through to her and let her know that, you know, what you're afraid of. I'm not telling you to do that because I'm not evaluating how she would react, but I'm just trying to be proactive here. So I don't see it popping off at this time in the way you would want. And remember that there's also negative people she surrounds herself with that doesn't want her in a romantic relationship. Understand that as well. There are people that want, people like her that are helpful, that are loving, that are caring, that are do-gooders, you know, is that even a word? They want them for themselves. People that are selfish, they want loving people. If she's in love and in a relationship and all that stuff, that's the last things people that are relying on her want. So I'm just saying that. So it's weird because I'm talking about a job crowd is not the same as social crowd. So it's job stuff, job pressures, but also social crowd. And don't forget the thing I said at the beginning, which was some kind of issue at her job. That's a totally different thing. So that's the way I could answer you. That's the best answer that I have for you is keep trying, keep manifesting. Don't drive yourself nuts. Realize it's going to have some misunderstandings. It's going to have some ups and downs. It's not the right timing. You have, you know, other opportunities that will open up for you if you want it to. You don't have to sit and wait and waste your life. But if, you know, you want to wait because it means that much, you can. And there's going to be a lot of other people that show up because you're a great person. You have a lot of good energy and people are drawn to that. And you just have to be wise about yourself and what you need and what you're willing to give and what you're willing to wait for. Meanwhile, she's still an option. So you have to do what's good for you. I don't see she's a bad person. I don't see that you should just say no. I think you should just realize that, unfortunately, this is a waiting game. And you just got to roll with the punches with this one. All right, sweetheart? So I hope that helps. It's not a negative reading, but you can't help time. And unfortunately, time is a stressor in this particular situation. You've waited this far. At least you can open the door now and be on good standing with her, which is what I recommend. I recommend that you, no matter how daunting it can be, you choose your battles wisely. And if she pushes your buttons or if something happens and you're stressed, don't let her know. It's better you're going to be thankful and be better off knowing that the door is open. You got to get Libra with it. Your Cancer self has to get more Libra with it, which might be tough for you to do, which means you might have to act like her a little bit and kind of let things go like a little grain of salt. Okay? All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much and have a good one. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching the live. Even if you didn't comment, thank you.